Everybody, I think we'll pull a committee of the whole meeting to order, please. Take this time to acknowledge the traditional territory of our friends, neighbors, and Treaty 8 partners of the Fort Nelson First Nation, as well as the Prophet River First Nation. We recognize the rights provided in our treaty, and we also celebrate the contributions and enduring presence of the Métis people in our region. Please be advised that tonight's meeting is available for the public to attend virtually, is being streamed and recorded. Are there any additions, council? Staff? No? Everybody's okay with the agenda the way it is? Okay. Good, that moves us straight to petitions and delegations, 5.1. Kelly Adzurdza Bapti is here to speak to us about the project overview for the 4903 Sunset Development. Is she online? Oh. So that's not what's on the agenda. So whoever's here to represent, please. Kelly's online? Okay. Oh, that's very important. Kelly's not online yet? Oh, we'll wait a couple of minutes, I guess. To become a panelist? Kelly, are you there?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Welcome to our committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you.
So we sort of introduced you, but the floor is yours if you'd like to introduce yourself and the project, please.
Sure. I'm Kelly Adzurdza Bapti, principal with Obsidian Architecture. I'm going to be presenting a project titled Linda's Friendship Lodge, and it's for the Fort Nelson Aboriginal Friendship Center Society. I guess maybe as an introduction note, I'm based out of Golden in Ktunaxa and Secwepemc territory, but I actually went to grade school and high school in Fort Nelson. So happy to be working on this project. This is actually also one of my first places of employment was with the Friendship Center. So it's nice to be able to come back around and to be able to do a project with them as they work towards developing a housing unit in Fort Nelson. So I'm just going to switch. I should be able to do a screen share here from my side. So I'll just pull up the presentation. So we're in the early stages right now in schematic design for Linda's Friendship Lodge. We have, I believe Krista's probably already done her introduction here as well, but we have Krista Ferguson from AHMA, or the Aboriginal Housing Management Association. Krista is representing the funding body, and then I'm the architect of record on the project. We have gone through our preliminary site assessments and master planning for the site. Our project brief is to design a 23-unit building, and it's a mixture of 1 and 2 bedroom units with a high accessible unit count. At present, I think we have a total of 8 accessible units that we're looking to have in the building. And then we've designed parking access and layout based off of that unit count in the mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. The location of the site is at the corner of Sunset and 49th. And in doing our analysis of the site and in parking access, emergency access, we've taken a look at what it looks like for traffic flows, both pedestrian and vehicle, that access through Sunset Drive with consideration of Carlson Hill and the closure of that hill in the wintertime, and then also pedestrian access that walks past the unit, and then the present servicing. So we've done a series of studies that helped us land on the proposed design and layout. And we've also been doing collaborated discussions with the regional municipality on what part of the servicing and utility and access looks like. So on screen here, I'm showing the orange corridor is what is our proposed driveway access for the site. The darker black outline shows where the property line is. And then the inner dashed line shows where our building setback is, and then the black outline for the building. Now, what we're working through, we've done the building layout and the site plan in many different layouts at this point, and we believe we've come to our most efficient layout. What we're presenting today and asking for in our variance application is to be able to accommodate part of our parking, 2 parking stalls that would be located outside of the property line. And then those are in the pink. And then the blue parking stalls are the ones that are straddling the property line. And there's 10 stalls that straddle the property line. And then the green parking stalls are the ones that are accommodated within our property line, and there are 17 stalls. So that makes up our total of 29 parking stalls, which would be the parking requirement by bylaw for a 23-unit building with the residence count that we have. Now, in our front end process of design, there's been a number of considerations that we've had, as well, considering our immediate resident to the north of the building. So the layout that we've chosen for these parking stalls is considerate of that house and not having parking stalls on the north side of the building, so that in the wintertime when vehicles are warming up and idling, that they're not having a lot of the exhaust that would be between these 2 buildings. We've also considered trying to place the building further to the south within the property setback lines. And I'll just step back to that image here. That allows us to have a bit of a green belt and a buffer between the building and the resident to the north. Then the other thing that we've considered in our layout is what it looks like to access the property. And along Sunset Drive, there's the stop sign that comes in off the 49th North Street. And there isn't presently a 4-way stop coming along Sunset Drive, but we've placed the entrance to the parking and to the site in the location of where a 4-way intersection would happen. The amount of turning room required for fire servicing for the lot has been accommodated into part of the access, and that's landed us on requiring to accommodate part of our parking, as said, straddling the parking lot and then or the property line, and then the 2 parking stalls that would be outside. Some of the other design considerations that we've had for the parking stalls, as well as we've considered the size of vehicles that a lot of people drive in the north and how tight the stalls can be. So we've accommodated the stalls to be a 9.5 foot wide parking stall instead of a typical 8 foot wide parking stall. And then the increased number of accessible parking stalls that are required when we have the increased number of accessible units. We've also considered the impact, as I mentioned, of idling on the residents to the north, and then also having the traffic accessing on a one-way access. So this would reduce the amount of conflict that could happen from vehicles going in and out off of Sunset Drive, and helps with kind of the ease of traffic flow for the parking. So that's our presentation. I wanted to try and keep it short and leave time for questions as well. I'm not sure if a Q&A was part of this also.
Sure, that's what we're here for. So thank you very much for the presentation. I appreciate it. How long have we been working on this as a staff? A year?
Most recently, yeah, 2021, 2023, and now. The project started in 2021. They didn't receive their funding at that time from who they applied to. And then we stepped in, and then since then it's been a year and a half.
Nice. Okay, are there any questions from council? I know that this is on the agenda for later. I don't know if you're sticking around for that discussion that we'll have later, or you will be? Okay, so I only have one question, and that is, just to get clarified, it's a 23 unit facility, and you've only got room in this design for 19 spaces. It's 23? And
23 units, and there's
how many
22 parking.
thank you. So how many parking stalls did you say you had on the property? Not including any of the straddled?
17.
17, okay, I had 19. Okay. Good to get that clear. Okay,
I have one question.
go ahead, please, Councilor Souls.
Yeah, I looked at interest at the map here earlier and quite familiar with the area because I'm often in that corner, but I look at the access points on 49th Street to there are no homes that are accessed from that street whatsoever. And I wondered that in the deliberations, was there a discussion with our staff and that about taking over the street? I mean, the street has very little utility and very, very little traffic. And so I was just thinking of how it's pretty conducive. It makes sense to utilize that space in a way that is helpful to the density of residents that we're starting to put in it. I think especially in consideration with the expectations the province downloaded on us in the recent years about developers being able to build multi-unit homes in just about anywhere without feedback. And I thought, well, of all the lovely places to build a multi-dwelling, it's right there on a street that has no other driveway accesses to anyone's home. It's actually pretty convenient. So it's good.
So seeing how we're gonna talk about that now, maybe now's the time. What do we have? Well, I was gonna ask staff later. What do we have for facilities in that right of way? What utilities do we have in that right of way? Does staff know? Do you know? Do you know?
Yeah, there's a
Thank you.
water
Kelly, do you
line.
know?
Yep, there's a water line that's located within the right of way that is on the property. And then there is the sewer that is on the adjacent property. So the right of way, let me just come in here. The right of way is for this blue line right here, and the
Right.
right of way thickness is that. And then the green line below it, this one here, is on the adjacent property, and that's for the septic service.
Yeah. And what about Sunset where the parking, where you're looking to park in the right of way?
To the best of my knowledge, no. What's been communicated is that the gas lines are located under the streets, but we don't have mapping for that.
Right. Okay, thanks. Any other questions? I think we'll probably have a discussion later when this comes up. Now's the time to talk to the architect if you have a question about the way it's laid out.
Well, first of all, sorry, it's Lorraine Gerwing here. Kelly, I knew you were a little girl, so nice to see you all grown up and an architect and everything, so. And everybody knows my challenge with maps, so you have to bear with me. So essentially what we're asking residents in that area to consider is an additional stop sign in their neighborhood and changing the traffic pattern from a two-way street to a one-way street, right? And then having, right, am I wrong?
No. The one way is inside the property line.
Oh, just inside the property, not on that street. Okay, good. I'm glad I asked then. But an additional stop sign, yes?
Just for the purpose of the property itself, that we will for this street.
Not on the street. Great, thank you. Okay, that helps. Okay, so then it's really just the problem with the parking and ensuring that there's enough parking spaces to accommodate this development. Right? Okay, thank you.
From an architectural perspective, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councilor Roper, please.
I have a question that might not have the answer, but I'm just wondering, in these types of units, low-income housing, is the parking, do the residents of these buildings typically drive the same as, say, a regular apartment building? Are we expecting every unit to have a vehicle, is what my question is.
I would say not necessarily every unit would have a vehicle. And for the 2-bedroom units, we do a calculation based on 1.5 parking stalls. So there is, I think, 4. Let me just see our count again. There are additional parking stalls for the 2-bedroom units, and then there's 4 visitor parking stalls that are added in as well. So I would say the count could potentially be reduced, but if everybody did have a vehicle, then it might have visitors to the units parking off of the street.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Growing? No?
Well, I think my question would probably be in the meeting because it's not for the architect, it's for our processes. Yeah.
Good. Questions online? Councilor Andrews, do you have any? I just don't see your hand or face or.
Hi. No, no questions. Thanks. I'm familiar with the area as well, so it actually looks all good to me.
Okay. Okay, well, Kelly, thank you very much for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Take care, everyone.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Looks like a mummy.
Okay, so then that brings us to 6.1. Committee of the Whole Report number 4, 26, update on the government transfer applications for 2026. Good evening, Ms. Pike.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. we wanted to bring forward a report so that we could continue to report on the progress with the government transfer application process. Really, there is not necessarily a lot of information within the report, other than to identify we've had a number of applications come in. We have 12, 6 are from organizations who have not annually received funds in the past. So we've got new applications in there. We have, as a staff, we've met and we have got the planning committee taking over the responsibility for intake and screening. And so they're going to be working on the screening over the next month, and they'll be bringing forward a report independent of the budget process. So it will fit within the policy whereby council gets the report and the screening results and then has that discussion and determines who's eligible for funding and what those funding levels will be. So in terms of the budget, though, what we've done is we've identified that right now with the 12 applications, we're just sitting under $1 million in requests. So we've identified $1 million as a placeholder for the budget process. And once we have the report come forward, then we'll be able to fine tune that number and make any changes necessary. We'll also have to give some consideration to the other 3 intakes throughout the year for the amounts less than $5,000. And
one more intake for the amount of 15,000.
yes, one of the groups that's in right now is less than 15. And if we're not able to get all of their information, they'll get popped over to the April intake. And then be considered at that point.
So from a budget perspective, then it's those later intakes that could add to that million. So there may need to be
That's
an amount determined with respect to what we might put aside
yes.
for future intakes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe part of the process, as we move forward, we want to be able to understand the complexities and the issues that the groups had in applying this time.
Mm.
We know that we've got new software being rolled out in the next month. And we know that that application piece appears to be a little bit friendlier in the new software. But just to be able to work with the groups and make sure that they understand and that they've got all their information in and that we can have a successful first year.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Any other questions besides the one I threw out there? No?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to item 6.2, Committee of the Whole Report 0526, the Town Hall Accessibility Improvements. Welcome.
Good evening,
Mr.
Mayor and Council.
O'Shaughnessy.
Thank you,
Welcome.
sir. So this report this evening is just for discussion. We wanted to bring some information about this project back to you, council and mayor, prior to the budget process. So you have a bit of a better understanding of what's being asked within the budget. So as you're aware, on the January 24th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting, council reviewed a proposed hydraulic elevator design with an estimated construction cost of $1.5 million. That time, council directed staff to work with the architect to explore more affordable accessibility options consistent with council's ongoing commitment to improve accessibility in a manner that's inclusive and dignified and functional. Current accessibility limitations on the first floor and the lack of access to the second floor remain barriers that do not align with modern accessibility standards. The project team evaluated both a wheelchair lift and a vertical screw lift to address accessibility deficiencies. While a stair lift offers basic access, it is generally considered a secondary solution due to its reliance on assistance, impact on stair use, limited durability, and potential to feel isolating or stigmatizing to the users. While a vertical screw lift offers a higher standard of independent, dignified access and aligns with universal design and provides elevator-like use for all users. The raising of the pit area out in the corporate service and treasury area also improves first floor accessibility and functionality by removing internal barriers, enhancing circulation and delivering benefits beyond the lift itself by creating additional usable floor space to offset workspace displaced by the vertical lift, which can be repurposed for offices, meeting rooms, storage, and mail functions. This proactive improvement will help accommodate future construction impacts, such as the new electrical room that will happen with the transformer project. The project includes an accessible front counter and workspace adjustments in corporate services to finance to improve public access, functionality, and operational efficiency. It also proposes a platform lift to ensure full accessibility between the second floor and mid-floor CAO, DCAO, and Raven Room, which would create a fully accessible administrative area within the town hall area. Pre-designed cost estimates for the full accessibility and functional improvements, including the vertical screw lift, workspace reconfigurations, and platform lift, range from $1.2 to $1.3 million, with the enabling accessibility funds covering $100,000 of lift costs. Taken as a whole, the proposed approach represents a comprehensive and forward-looking accessibility initiative. While requiring a higher initial investment than a stair lift, the project delivers a long-term value by removing barriers, enhancing dignity and independence, improving operational efficiency, and supporting future facility planning in a comprehensive and sustainable manner. So I will open it up to council if there's any questions or anything you'd like to discuss further.
Thank you, Sean, for that report. It sounds like you guys put a lot of work into thinking how you can make this whole building accessible.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, it would
It's
be
not
an old
easy.
building like this. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think originally we thought, well, the 1.5 million was way out just for a
Just-
hydraulic elevator.
Yeah.
And then, so we thought, well, is it possible to do something on those stairs within the funding allocation that we got as a grant?
Yeah.
I think that's why we were sort of stuck to that. We've recognized that we could probably deliver a stair lift for under that, but I'm glad that you guys took a big picture view of accessibility in the community, and it looks like that you guys have come up with a plan. My only question is where will the 1.3 to $4 million come from?
My understanding is we're hoping it might come from reserves.
So the building reserve?
Yes.
And putting it into the building assists with any future, so you've said that you've taken into consideration some of the future design changes in the building.
For example.
So we're not tearing something out so that we can make it better later.
No.
Yeah.
For example, treasury, for example, right now we have staff down at downstairs. It's the only department in the building where a director is separate from. The director's upstairs, the remainder of her team is downstairs. Things like that. We can, by raising the pit area and corporate services into finance, we can raise all that floor. We can move people out there. We can create another office space, meeting spaces in corporate service, which there is no meeting space downstairs at all, other than the bear pit. So it really helps with a lot of functionality as well. So yeah, there's been a lot of thought put into it overall with regards to Scott and Jaylene, myself and the rest of the team, Tony. There's been a lot of input.
Do you have a napkin drawing yet?
We have a conceptual drawing.
Okay.
I didn't bring it with me. Sorry, but I definitely can. I can get that passed along to you guys.
Yeah,
for a look.
I'd certainly like to see what that conceptual drawing that you guys have come up with for sure.
And this 1.2 to 1.3 million also includes a design for upgrades to the washrooms to make them accessible as well, with the hope that we would possibly do that work in 2027 as opposed to 2026 to kind of split the costs up a little bit.
Okay, anybody else? Please, Councilor Groving.
Thank you. I hear there's a funder in the house. I don't know. So I just want to address the sentence. It says confirmation has also been received that the enabling accessibility funds are usable for the purchase of the screw lift and stair lift devices at a total cost of $140,000 with a new deadline of June of 2026. So it has to be done by June the 2026,
purchase.
completed or
Yes,
Or
the
just
funds have
purchase.
to be spent so we can do the reporting by June 2026. Initially, that's the third extension on that grant.
right,
That
yeah,
we've got.
that's what I thought, yeah.
And I've gotten approval from the funder they will allow me to purchase the lifts and use that 100,000 for that. So that 140,000 not only includes the purchase of the lift, it also includes that company installing the lift and doing oh God, my brain is not gonna work right now. Commissioning of the lift as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, ma'am,
Go ahead.
so, my second thought is I'm sure that we are investigating other grants that might be available, especially around accessibility.
We're always keeping our eyes open, absolutely.
So,
Town halls are a struggle.
Yeah.
They're like the elephant in the room when it comes to
Yeah.
grant funding.
well, I'm kind of thinking, yes, I hear you. But for a washroom upgrade, like, I don't know. I know you guys will be, you people will be all over it. So, okay, good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Sean, thank you very much. That was
Thank you
a
very
great
much.
report and take it, our thanks to the committee, all of them, for the work that they did on that.
Thank you.
All right, 5:30. There's no new business. Any questions from the public? Online or in the room? On anything that we covered? Then we are adjourned. Thank you very much. What to do with our time?